Hey everyone, this is Roland here. Welcome and thank you for being here. And today we're going to be talking about who can rescue us in times of trouble. Because at the end of the day, as we live on this earth, there will always be trials and tribulations and struggles. And there is the enemy who's trying to take us out, who's trying to stop us from finishing the race that God has us on. So with all that, we need to be reminded that we are not alone, that we serve a God who rescues. And there is a story that I want to get into that perfectly portrays this truth that God is our rescuer. And that is in the book of Daniel and is with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And we know their story. These three young Hebrew men refused to bow down to the image that the king had made. So the king calls them in and he is furious and he gives them a second chance. And let's get into that, right? So he says in Daniel 3 verse 15, it says, "But if you refuse, you will be thrown immediately into the burning furnace. And then what God will be able to rescue you from my power." So let's get what the king is saying here. He's not asking them like, hey, do you know of any other God that can rescue you? Is there? I mean, like, really? I'm truly, no. He's giving them two options. He's saying that, hey, that if you don't bow down to my idol, you're going to die. You're going to get thrown into the blazing furnace, right? And that was what he was trying to say. And he didn't know that these three young Hebrew men served a God who rescues. So let's continue with the story because let's hear what they say. And they say in Daniel 3 verse 17, "If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God whom we serve is able to save us. He will rescue us from your power, your majesty." So these three Hebrew young men know who they serve. They know that they serve the God who rescues. And for us, that is a reminder. And I would like to encourage you that as you go through all that you're going through, and even right now, you might be going through some really difficult situation and problems, and you can't see a way out, and you are just out of answers, and you are at your end. Remember that we serve a God who rescues, a God who helps us, and a God who doesn't let us go and is right there with us. Because if you read that story further, the three Hebrew young men were thrown into the furnace. But then we read that the king jumps out of his seat, right? And he then asks, like, didn't we throw three men into the fire? And all say, yeah. So like, well, I can see four. And the fourth is like the Son of God. So not only did God deliver them, but he was right there with them in the fire. So right now, in your trouble, in your struggles or trials or whatever is getting you out of peace, know that God is with you. The God who rescues is right by your side. And as we close, I'd like to just touch on two more scriptures. One from, let's go to it, to Daniel 3 verse 9. And this is what the king said after the three Hebrew young men were delivered, because God delivered them from the fire. They were not burned, and they came out. So this is what the king said. He said, "There is no other God who can rescue like this." And that is the truth that we need to know, that there is no other God that can rescue like our God, because he is the God who rescues. And then the last scripture that I want to touch on is Daniel 6 verse 27. And this is when Daniel was delivered, because as I think about it in the scriptures, there's so many other examples of this truth that God is the God who rescues. Let's think of Peter when he was in prison, right? And he's got an army around him, and Herod wants to execute him. But what happens in the night is that an angel comes and leads him right out of the prison into freedom, and he rescues him. And then there is Moses and the Israelites, right? And they are being pursued by Pharaoh. So on one side behind them is the army, and they want to take them back or want to kill them. I don't know. But on the other side, there's the Red Sea. So the Israelites are hemmed in. There is no way to go. There is no way out. But again, the God who rescues split the Red Sea and made a way for the Israelites to walk through and be delivered. And again, this is the God that we serve. He is the God who rescues. And then the last example that I'm going to give is, of course, with Daniel. He was thrown into the lion's den, and it was a sure thing. He was supposed to die. But again, the God who rescues delivered him. And this is what the king had to say after he was taken out from the pit. And in Daniel 6 verse 27, it says, "He rescues and he saves. He performs signs and wonders in the heavens and on earth. He has rescued Daniel from the power of the lions." And that was the testimony, and that was what the king saw and said, he rescues and he saves. And remember, there is no other God who can rescue like this. So, as I end this, I want to encourage you and remind you that as you're going through all that you're going through, as it seems like there's no way out, as it seems that the giants are too strong and there's no answer to your problems, we serve a God who rescues, and he will deliver us, and he will help us, and he will help you, and he will rescue you, and he's right by your side. So be encouraged. And with that, I will see you in the next episode. God bless, and see you. Bye.